Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be creating our very own on-chain game currency for our Unity game. So in a nutshell, in the tutorial, we're going to build a very simple Unity game where you can collect collectible items, in this case gems, and depending on the amount of gems you collect in the game, you'll be able to claim those as a token or an in-game currency. But this will be an ERC-20 token that you'll be claiming behind the scenes. So this tutorial is going to be a very simple game build plus the ability to claim those ERC-20 tokens. We're first going to deploy our ERC-20 token contract. Then we're going to build out our very simple Unity game. After that, we will then implement the Web3 functionality onto our game to allow a user to connect their wallet and claim the amount of tokens equivalent to the gems that they collect in the game. Now, before we get started, let's jump on the computer really quick and I'll show you a demo of what we'll be building. All right, so on my computer here, I have my basic simple Unity game here, and all it is this fox character and some gems, and the object is to collect the gems, and once you've collected all the gems, you'll be able to earn or claim the equivalent amount in an ERC-20 token. So let's play this game right here. The game is loaded. You can see I can't move my character left and right, and there's a prompt that says I have to connect my wallet before I start playing. So I'm going to connect my wallet here. We are using the local wallet for this game, which just requires a password to connect your wallet. Once it's connected, you'll see the token balance updates to the wallet's token balance, and I can now move my player left and right. Once I start collecting gems, you'll notice the counter in the top left starts incrementing depending on how many gems I've collected. And once I collect all the gems here, I complete the level and it says I have 6 tokens that I can claim. So when I claim those tokens, we'll claim our tokens here. Everything is gasless. We have a gasless relayer set up that we'll go over on how to do. And once this transaction goes through, you can see we've claimed our tokens here. Our balance has updated to our new balance with 6 more tokens, and we can just exit or restart the game and you can play again. So there you go. That is the demo of the game that we're going to be building. This is really going to showcase how you can implement and earn and mint or claim ERC-20 tokens to your Web3 game using Unity. Now, without wasting any time, let's jump on the computer and let's deploy some of our contracts first. So first thing we're going to do is head on over to thirdweb.com. We're going to browse contracts first. And if you haven't already done so, connect your wallet to the dashboard. And we're going to deploy a token drop contract. So we scroll down here to our drops here. We have token drop. We can select that and we can hit deploy. We'll actually name this a gem token, and we'll just name it, give it a symbol of gem. You can add a description, upload a image if you want for your contract. We're going to leave it as is here and hit deploy. We'll confirm our transaction here and add it to our dashboard. Once that's been deployed, you'll be brought over to your contract dashboard here. And the next thing we need to do, you can follow the contract checklist here. The next thing is to set a claim condition. So on the left-hand navigation under the extensions tab, we can head over to claim conditions here. And we just need to add a claim phase or some conditions for the claiming phase. Now we're going to make it a public. Anyone can claim it. For this tutorial, we're just going to set it to unlimited and we're going to make it free. So we're going to leave everything as is and we're going to hit save phase. We'll confirm that transaction. And we now have our claim phase set. So this is all we need to do to create our gem token here. If we look at our tokens, we don't have any because we haven't claimed any of these tokens just yet, but we will need the contract address and everything for this once we start building out our Unity game. So the next thing we're going to do is build out the game first. So we're going to build out the character, being able to collect the gems, being able to collect, keep track of the score and everything. And we're going to first download our Unity SDK. So you can head on over to our Unity release page here on GitHub. We'll drop a link to this down in the description below. You can download the latest version of our Unity SDK here. You can just click on that. Once it's downloaded, you can open up Unity. So I'm going to bring over my Unity hub here. I'm going to create a new project. We're going to make this a 2D core project. And I'm going to name this a gem game, and we'll create this project here. And once that finishes, you'll have your Unity window here that opens up. Let me just resize here really quick. And the next thing we're going to do is import our Unity SDK. So if you come up to the top under the assets drop down, there's an import package, and we can import our custom package. It'll ask us to select the package we want to import. You can just select the thirdweb Unity SDK and hit open. You'll then be brought an import here where it'll ask you what you want to import. We'll just import everything here. And once that is all imported, down here in your projects folder, you'll have a new thirdweb folder here that will have all of your prefabs and everything that you can use to build your Web3 game. And we'll get into that later on into this video. But first, again, we're going to build our basic game and then add the Web3 components to it. So for this game example, I'm going to be using a free asset package in the Unity Asset Store. I will again drop this link down in the description below. You can download it for free. We're again going to be using this asset package just so we have some things that we can play with in our game. So I'm just going to select open in Unity. It'll open our package manager here, and we're going to find the Sunnyland package, and we're going to import that into our game. And once that has imported, again, in our assets folder, we'll see Sunnyland artwork here, and we'll have some environments from like the background, which we'll just drag into our game right now, and we'll enlarge this here, right there, to cover our game. And you can see we have some nice pixel background here. We'll also have things like if we go into sprites, we'll have our player here, which is this little fox character that we'll be using. So we added our background here. Let's actually rename this to background. And on the background in our inspector here, we're gonna go under our sorting layer. We're gonna click on that and add a sorting layer. And right over here, we're gonna add a new layer that we're gonna drop into the back, and we're gonna call it background, just so that our background is behind everything in our game that we add. So you can add a layer, put background, you're going to drop it or put it up to layer 0. Whatever is on the top is going to be what is the furthest back within our game. And then we can select the background asset again, and under the sorting layer, we'll select that drop down and select the background as the sorting layer. Next, we're going to build out our kind of level of our game, which we're just going to make it really simple and just make it a little platform that goes across the bottom here. We're going to be using a tile map to create this. The great thing about this asset package is it's kind of like pixel art, so we can create a level really quickly with a tile map. So if we right click here in our hierarchy, we'll add a 2D object, and then we'll hit tile map, and then we'll select a rectangular here, and we'll just name this game here. So we have a grid, and then we have our game tile map right over here. Next, we have some tile map assets within this Sunnyland package here. So under sprites, if we come down, I think it is under here, or actually under environments, tile set, you can see we have all these assets that we can use. And in order to access them or our tile set, we're going to come up to the Windows tab, and under 2D, we're going to select tile palette, and I'm going to just drag this into the right side here. And the tile palette is going to give us our whole tile set that we have from the Sunnyland asset package. And all we need to do is select which tile we want to use. So we'll just use this regular grass tile here, and we will just paint across the bottom and make it a nice little platform there. Of course, you can select other tiles and make this much nicer, but again, we're just gonna make this really simple and make this platform go all the way across. I'm gonna select this and close this tab right here. So if I check out my game here and we change this aspect ratio to HD, which will be 1920 by 1080, we have our little platform here that our character is going to be walking across and collecting gems from. Now, the next thing we need to do is we'll select this tile map here, just this game object. We're going to add a component. Let me just make this a little bigger on the side. So in our inspector here, we're going to add a component and we're going to add a tile map 2D collider. And this is just going to add a collider right here to our tile map platform that we just created. So nothing falls through and it's a solid object. Next thing we're going to do is create our player. So I'm just going to drag up my project section here, and under the Sunnyland here, under the sprites folder and in the player folder, we're going to use just the idle version of this, and we'll just take this and drag it into our game, this little player here. And if we zoom in, it's actually really small, this player. We're just going to drag and hold shift and make that a little bit bigger. We're going to drag them down to this first block here just to size them properly. And we're just going to drag the player up a little, so when we start a game, they'll fall down right onto the first platform here. And let me just rename this layer here as player. And there we go, we have our player. Now we're going to add a few things to our player. The first thing we're going to add is a component here, and I'm going to just zoom in a little bit to my player just so we can see. First thing we're going to add is a collider. We're going to add two colliders. I'm going to add a box collider 2D here. And if we hit this little edit collider, you'll see a green outline. That's the collider. We can actually, let me hit the background and hide it really quick. So there you go. We have our green box here. This is actually, we're going to make this the size of our player's head here. And then we're going to add a second one, which is going to be a circle collider 2D. And we'll hit that edit collider here, and this will be just kind of the body of our player. We'll just raise this up just a little bit. And the last thing we're going to add to our player is a rigid body 2D. This is just to give it some physics here, and we can add gravity to it. So we're just going to make the gravity, let's say 3. And we're going to add some constraints to it, and we're going to freeze rotation on the z-axis. And this is just so our player stays standing upright at all times. So let me bring back our background here. So now again, we have collider set on our platform here. We have a collider and some physics set on our player. So if we were to play our game here, right now our player should just drop down, and we haven't set up any controls or anything yet, but our player doesn't fall through the floor or anything, and our player is still standing upright. So we're good as far as right now. Next thing we're going to do is just add some movement to our player, and we're not going to create the whole script here. I'll drop another link to this down below, but this is a 2D character controller here. You can download this, and we're going to use this script to make our player move left and right with some basic movement. So once you have it downloaded, in our assets folder, we'll come back up to the top here. I'm going to create a new folder here called scripts. And in our scripts folder, we're going to just drag the character controller 2D script into there. And we're going to select our player game object, and we're going to add a component, and we're going to search for our character controller 2D script and connect it to our player here. Now I'm going to come into our scene here, select our player and hit F to kind of zoom in here. And this character controller, we need to set a ground and ceiling check. So when we select our player game object here, we're going to right click and add a new empty to it. We're going to call this our ceiling check, and we're going to grab our game object and we're going to make it the top of our character, and that's going to mark the top of our character here. We'll just duplicate that. We'll call this one ground check, and we'll grab that and then move it down to the feet of our character. And then selecting the player game object again, you can see we have these references to our ground check and ceiling check. So we're going to click and drag ceiling to ceiling and click and drag ground to ground. And that is to set up our character controller. Next, we're going to create a script to actually start moving our character. So we're going to add a component here. I'm going to create a new script, and I'm going to call this one a character movement script. We'll create that. I'm going to come into the assets folder and move that script into our scripts folder. And I will open that up in our code editor. So with that character movement script now opened up here, the first thing we need to do is reference our controller. So we're going to do public, we're going to do character controller 2D, and we'll call this controller. So if we come back to our game here and we select our player, we just need to grab this character 2D controller and drag it right into that reference there. And now we need to tell our game when we hit the buttons to move our character left and right. So coming back to our character movement script here, we're going to add a couple variables here that we're going to use to move our character. The first one we're going to do is we're going to create a float called horizontal move, and we'll just set that to 0. And then we're going to create a public float called run speed, and we'll set that to 40. Now we're going to get rid of the start here. We don't need a start. In update, we're going to make horizontal move equal to our input times run speed. So this is going to be where in our game our character is going to move to based on the horizontal move. Now we're going to create a separate function here called a fixed update, and we're going to call the move from our character controller 2D here, and we're going to set it and move our character based on what our horizontal move is set to. We're going to make that times time.fixed delta time, so that this updates based on this fixed update, not this update here. And we're setting false and false to these two, which are for like crouching and jumping, which we're not implementing into our game. We're just moving left and right. So I'm going to save that there, come back to our game, and then we should be able to, why are we moving? Oh, I know why. On our player here on our character controller 2D, what is ground? We are setting everything to ground here. So once everything is set to ground and we play our game again, there we go. We should be able to move left and right using our arrow keys. So we have our player set up, and our player can now move left to right. Next thing we're going to have to do is create the gems for our character to collect. So coming back in our projects here, under the Sunnyland asset folders, we can go under sprites, and we're going to go under items, and we have gems. Now the gems are actually framed animations here. So what we can do is select the first one, hold shift, select the last one here, and we'll drag this into our hierarchy. It's going to ask us if we want to make a new animation. We'll just select our assets folder here, and we'll call this gem animation and hit save. And again, it's going to add a really small gem here. So we're going to resize this here. We'll make it really big first, come back here. We'll move this to the proper positioning, and we'll make it and size it accordingly. Right, then we'll name this gem. And on our gem here, we're going to add a component. We're going to add a rigid body to it, a rigid body 2D, again, to give it some physics. We're also going to add 2 box colliders to this. So I'm going to select, we'll do a first box collider 2D here. I'm going to turn off my background again really quick so we can see that green box around it. So let me select box collider, and I'm going to hit edit. And now one of the box colliders is going to be the box collider that basically prevents this from falling through the floor here. So I'm going to make this one a little smaller here with some space at the bottom, so our gem is floating slightly from the ground. And then the second box collider I'm going to add, this is going to be our trigger collider. So this one is going to let us know when our character runs into the gem, allowing us to collect it. So I'm going to squeeze that one just to the sides of the gem here. And in that drop down, I'm going to check off is trigger here because we're going to use this as a trigger to let us know when our player collects it. Next, under the inspector here, when we have our gem selected, we're going to select tags, and we're going to add a tag here. We're going to create a tag called a gem and save that. come back to our gem and set the tag here to gem. And this is so we can reference this gem when it is triggered. Once we have that set up for our gem, we're going to grab our gem game object here, and I'm going to drag it into our projects folder, and that's going to create a prefab of this gem here for us, which has the box colliders and everything that we just set up. And what we can do now is duplicate this gem or grab the gem prefab from down here, and we can add some more of them into our game, and we can move this into position here. So I'm going to move them a little bit here so that they land into our game just like our player does. I'm going to add some gems into the game, and I'll be right back once I have this set up. Alright, so I have 10 gems here added into my game. I kind of stack them like this so that when the game starts, they all fall nicely down. So if I hit play here, you can see all our gems and our player drops down. And we can't collect them or anything. We can just push these gems along the bottom here. But what we're going to do next is set up our script so that when our player runs into these gems, they are collected, and our score, which we'll create in the top left here, will increment. So let's stop that. Let's bring back our background here. And let's create our little score that's going to appear in the top left of our game. So I'm going to first here right click, I'm going to create an empty, and I'm going to just call this collectibles. And I'm going to grab all our gems here and drag it into there so we can just collapse that. And I'm going to right click, and under UI we're going to add a canvas. And if I scroll out and zoom out a bit, this canvas is going to be our game canvas right over here. We're going to say scale with screen size on the canvas scaler right here in the inspector, and we'll set the screen size to the reference to 1920 by 1080. Now within this canvas here, we're going to right click and add a UI component. We're going to add a text, and we're going to position this in the top left here, and the initial text that we're going to set is 0, which is going to be our font. We'll set the size to 64. Actually, let's make it a bigger one. Let's do 100 here, and we'll make it bold. We'll add a drop shadow to that, and we'll center it. So we'll just make it centered right over there. So now when we play our game here really quick, just to preview it, you see we have our score here, but we still haven't set anything to increment that score or the ability to collect these gems yet. So coming back to our game editor here, we're going to now select our player here. We're going to add another script to our player called gem collect. So we're going to call this gem collect script, and we'll create that script. Again, I'm going to take that script, put it into our scripts folder, and open up that script. So in our gems collect script, this is where we're going to keep track of the score or the gems that we collect, as well as create the script and function to collect the gems and make them disappear once they are collected. So the first thing we're going to do is set a public int here to gems, and the gem count is going to start at 0. We'll then have to reference our score. So if I come back to my game here, we'll have to reference this text right over here and make sure that we can increment and change that as the gems are collected. So to do that, we are going to, in brackets here, we're going to do serialized field. It is not that. And then we're going to do private, because we only need to know it within this script. And it is tmpro.textmatch pro UGUI, and we'll just call this gem score text. Right, so coming back to our game here, we'll select that player, and under the gem collect script, we have to reference that text. So in our canvas here, we'll actually rename this here as score, and we'll drag that. Let me select player, and we'll drag that score here so that we can reference that text in our script. And in our script here, I'm going to get rid of the start and update, and we're going to create a on trigger enter 2D function here, and we're going to reference this to any 2D collider, and it is going to be a collision. And we're going to say if, let me delete that, and we're going to say if collision dot game object dot, and we're going to compare tag to gem. So if it has the gem tag and we collide with it, we're going to destroy the object first. So we're going to destroy the object we collided with. We're going to increment gems here, so our gem score, and then we're going to set the gem score text to what our gems are in a string. Right, so coming back to our game here, let's test this. So we can move our character. When we move, we can collect our gems here. And let me stop this. Let me speed up my character just a little bit here. We'll set it to 30. And you can see we can collect our gems, and our score is going up as we collect our gems. And we can collect all 10 of them. There we go. And now that we have our basic game finished here, the next thing we need to do is add the Web3 functionality to be able to connect a wallet and to be able to claim the ERC-20 tokens equivalent to the gems that we collect. So again, what we're going to do here is in our project folder, we're going to head over to the thirdweb folder, and we're going to go into core and prefabs. And there is a prefab called the thirdweb manager. Now this prefab, when dragged into your scene, will take care of the majority of setting everything up for our game to interact with the blockchain. So I'm going to drag our thirdweb manager up here to the top. And you can see here in the inspector, we can set things like our chain. In this case, we're going to set it to Mumbai because that's the chain that we deployed our ERC-20 token to. You can add supported chains. So if someone wants to toggle to different chains and everything, you can set that. We're actually just going to drag Mumbai down to the bottom here. We're going to select the top, and we're just going to take away all of these chains as we're only going to support Mumbai in our app. So there we go. We only have one supported chain, which is Mumbai here. In a bit, we're going to set up our OZ Defender options, which is going to allow us to have gasless transactions within our app as well. So again, this is all we need to do to set up the main connection for our game to interact with the blockchain. Next, in our canvas here, if I zoom out, this is kind of like our canvas that overlays our game. The first thing we need to add is a connect wallet button. So in our thirdweb folder under examples here, we can go under prefab, and there is a prefab connect wallet here. We'll drag that into our canvas. And you can see here we have this connect wallet button. We're going to drag this here and move it to the top right corner of our application. And in this prefab, we can, in this drop down settings here, select our supported wallets. We're actually only going to support a local wallet here. So we're going to delete all of these here, and we're going to have a local wallet here. And if we play this really quick, you can see we now have a connect wallet button up here, where if we hit this, we can create a local wallet. So we can just create a password, which will create a wallet under the hood for us. And once that is connected, you can see we have our wallet connected here. We can disconnect, connect back by putting in our password again. All right, but in our game here, we don't want to have a user be able to play or move our character around until they have a wallet connected, because we want to make sure that we're able to send the ERC-20 tokens to a wallet. And if there is a wallet connected, we won't be able to send those tokens anywhere. So under the canvas game object here, I'm going to select that. Just going to close these drop downs here. We're going to add a component. We're going to create a new script, and we're going to call this our connect wallet script. We're going to create that. Again, in my assets folder, I'm going to drag this into the script folder and then open that up. So we want to first be able to prompt our user to connect a wallet before they start playing. And we also, again, want to make sure that a user can't move the player until they connect a wallet. So first in the canvas here, we're going to create a empty here, and I'm just going to call this prompt. And in prompt, we're going to add, right click and add a UI component, and we're going to add text here. And we're just going to say, please connect wallet to start playing. We'll make this a little bit bigger here, center that text, make it a little bigger. Let's make this a little bigger here. We'll make it bold and add a drop shadow to it. So again, when we test this out here, we're going to say, please connect the wallet to start playing. You won't be able to use or move your character until you connect that wallet. So coming back to our script here, we're going to reference this first. So we're going to do public, we're going to do a game object, and we're going to put, call this connect prompt. We also need to reference our player movement script and be able to control our run speed or move speed in order to make it 0 so that a user can't move the player until they are connected. So we're going to do public, we're going to do a player movement script, and we're just going to call this player movement script. And on start, so once the game is started, we're going to make sure that our connect prompt always shows and that the player movement script run speed is set to 0. I'm going to get rid of this update here. And the next one we're going to do is we're going to do a public void, and we're going to call this connect wallet. And once a wallet is connected, we're going to set the prompt to false, and we're going to change the run speed here to 30. And then we're also going to make another public void called show connect prompt, which is going to set the prompt to true. And then we're going to, again, make sure that the player speed is set to 0 so that they cannot move. And now coming back to our app here, we first need to get on our canvas here. Ooh, let's see, here we should be able to reference this. Let me see, player movement script, our player movement script, and what did we call it? Character movement, not player movement. That is why. And I guess, well, yeah, we'll just keep it player movement. So make sure that is named the same as your player movement script. So we're just gonna get our player here and drop them into that player movement script. Then let's uncomment all of this, and that should all be good. So coming back to our connect a wallet button, you can see we have these callbacks here, and these callbacks will allow us to call those functions that we created in our script here. So the connect wallet and the show connect prompt. So we want to run this when a wallet is connected. We'll get rid of the prompt, set the speed so that the player can move. And anytime a wallet is disconnected, we want to show the prompt and drop the player's movement back down to 0. So on the callback here, on the onConnected callback, we can grab our canvas, drag it in there. We'll select the connect wallet script, and we'll select the connect wallet function there. On the disconnect, we will add that. We'll drag the canvas into the object there. We'll set the connect wallet script, and then we'll do the show connect prompt. So coming back to our game here, we'll run that really quick. I cannot move my character until I connect here. We'll fix that overlay. We'll rearrange that in a bit. But once I am connected, I can now move. I can start collecting things. If I select my wallet here and I disconnect, again, I won't be able to move my character until I sign back into my wallet, and I can then start collecting everything over again. Cool, so we'll undo that. We're gonna grab our connect wallet, drag it down to the bottom so that it is placed over that prompt text there. Now what we wanna do is we're gonna create display our token value here so we can see how much tokens we actually own with this wallet. So in Canvas here, I'm going to right click, I'm going to add a 2D object, or actually no, UI object, and I'm going to add a text here. We're going to call this token balance, and we're going to move this kind of right next to our connect wallet button here. We're actually going to make it set onto the right, and we're just going to say, what do we call it, gem, and set to 0. We're going to make it bold, have a little drop shadow, and we'll make sure that it's always close to our wallet there. So if I run this here, you can see we have gems here, and we're going to make sure that that displays the balance of our connected wallet. So in my canvas, I'm going to create another empty here, and I'm going to call this token. And this token here, game object, is going to take care of our claiming of our tokens, the updating of the balance here. And on this token here, we're going to add a component. We're going to make a new script. I'm just going to call this token script and hit create. Come back to my assets here, make sure that token script goes into my scripts folder, and then we'll open that up. So first thing we're going to do in order to get the updated token balance is we're going to reference our text that we just created. So that will be our token balance text. We're also going to get our token drop contract address. So I'm going to head over to my contract here. I'm going to copy that, head back on over to my script, paste it in there because we're going to have to get that contract to check the balance of our address. At the top here, we're going to do using thirdweb because we are going to be using some of the functionality of our thirdweb SDK here. So I'm going to just delete the start and update here, and I'm going to create a public async void here, and this is going to be get token balance. And to get the token balance, we're first going to get we're going to do a try catch here. So we're first going to get our address of the wallet connected. So we're going to do var address, and what we're going to do is await, and we're going to await our thirdweb if I can manager, which is that prefab that we added to our scene. Again, this is going to make it really easy for us to get our token address and to also get our contract, and again to interact with the blockchain. So we're going to get instance.sdk.wallet, and then we're going to do get address, and that is going to get us the address of the connected wallet. We're then going to get the contract, our ERC-7 or ERC-20 contract. So we're going to do contract, and contract is going to equal thirdweb manager dot instance dot SDK dot get contract, and we're going to be getting the contract using our drop ERC-20 contract address that we put up here, which is our contract address of that ERC-20 contract we created. Then we're going to get the data of our token balance here. So we're going to store that in data, and we are going to await our contract, and we can specify that it is an ERC-20 contract, and we are going to do the balance of and the balance of the address that is connected. Then we'll set the token balance text to, we'll make sure we have a gem up here in the front, and we'll set that to our data, and in data we have a display value, which is already a string, so we don't need to convert that or anything. And if we get an error, we'll just say debug log error getting balance. Then beneath this, we're also going to create a public void called reset balance, and this is for when we disconnect our wallet, we're going to reset the balance back to 0 because nothing is connected. So we'll go back to our app here, and we'll go to our prefab connect wallet button first. We're going to add another callback. So this one, we're going to put the token, and we're going to run the where is it, to get token balance here. So when someone connects their wallet, it's going to again allow them to move their character, get rid of our prompt, and then update the token balance. On the disconnect, we're going to do the same thing, but for the reset balance. once someone signs out, they won't be able to move and the balance will go back down to 0. So if we run this and we connect our wallet, it should remain 0 because, again, we haven't collected any tokens yet. So next thing we're going to do is once someone collects all the tokens, we'll show them a prompt here that will allow them to claim those tokens, those ERC-20 tokens. And then this should update right here. So in our token game object here, we're going to right click, we're going to add UI. We're just going to add image here. And we'll change this to like a, I guess we can leave it white. And we'll increase the size here. So this is going to just be our little background here. And in here, we're also going to add, we'll just call this prompt BG for background. In tokens, we'll also add a new UI. Text, we'll make this text a little darker here. And this is going to say claim tokens. We'll set this to a little bit bigger font here. Again, make it have some drop shadow, make it bold. And we'll make this a little larger, center it, move that there. We'll also have a new text that says, let's change that color. That'll say tokens earned, and it'll say 0. We'll make this a bit larger here, center that, move it. We'll move it in the middle here. And then we're also going to add a button. So we'll right click UI, we'll add a button here, and we'll call this claim button. And claim button, you will, in the transform, we'll just make this 250 in width and 60 in height. You can change the color of the button. So let's just do, I don't know, maybe like a blue button here. And in the button, if you drop down, you can edit the text. So we'll do claim tokens, and we'll make that white, bold. Make it a little bit bigger there. And then we'll just drop this down button here. Drop our button down to the bottom here. So this is our little prompt that we want to show. So in here, we're going to create a few different states. So when someone clicks the button to claim, we're going to bring them to like a loading screen. And once the tokens have been claimed, we're going to show them that their tokens have been claimed. So I'm going to add 3 empties in here, which are going to be the has not claimed state, a new one called claiming, and then another one called claimed. So this claim button is going to go into has not claimed because they haven't claimed it yet. This will rename this called earned tokens. So earned tokens will show if they have not claimed yet. That text in the background will always be showing. So in claiming, so I can hide has not claimed yet. So in claiming, we're going to add some UI, add some text. We're just going to have the text say claiming tokens, add some dots after. So say claiming tokens here. We'll hide that. And then once they have claimed, again, we'll add some text in here as well. Change the color here. And we're going to say tokens have been claimed. Again, center that. And then in here, we're going to add a button. So we'll go UI. We'll add a button here. And this button will just be to restart the game. So we'll change the text to restart game. We'll make this button a little bit bigger here. So add 250 as width, and we'll add 60 as the height. And then color, we'll just make this one maybe like a green color to restart the game. Change the text to white font, maybe get a little bit of a darker green. So again, what we're going to do is when the game ends, it's going to show how much tokens they've earned. They can click this button to claim their tokens. It'll turn this off and turn on the claiming tokens, kind of like a loading screen here. And once the tokens have been claimed, that will turn off and it'll say tokens have been claimed, and they can then restart the game. So let me just show all of these. And then again, we're going to go to our token and open up our token script one more time here. And in our token script, we'll come up to the top here. We're going to reference all those states. So we're going to do public game object, and then we're going to do has not claimed state. We're going to do public game object claiming state, and then public object has claimed state. We're also going to set a public and then game object to reference our claim prompt. And we need to reference our gem collect script so that we know when we have collected all the gems, and we know the total of gems collected, so we know how much to collect. So we'll do gem collect script. We'll call that gem collect script. So now we'll create our start, which will set everything here to false, because nothing should be showing until we are done collecting all the gems. We're also going to create an update here. We'll have to reference our, which is actually going to be just like this one here. So we're going to do this as gems earned text. This will be public though. So let's get all this connected first. So coming over to our token here, we have all these. So we have gems, our gem collect script. So that is going to be under our player here. Oops, sorry, back to token. We'll drag in our player here. Our claim prompt, which is our actual token game object here. This whole thing that is going to hide and show the prompt that shows. Then we have has not claimed state, which is this state here. We have our claiming state, which is our state here. And then we have the claimed or has claimed state. And then we have our token balance and gems earned. So we actually have just gems earned, which is that one right there. So gems earned, we're actually going to remove that because I think that was just the same thing that we're adding twice. Or was that for our, oh, that was for our getting balance one. So sorry about that. So we do need that. That token balance is set to our token balance text here. So we need to make sure that one is referenced properly there. All right, so in this update, we do need to make sure that we keep track of the gems that we have to collect. So we are going to do gems earned text dot text is going to equal gems earned, and then we're going to get the amount that we have collected, and we're going to put it to a string, and we're going to then get gems to claim is going to equal the gems collect script dot gems. This is going to give us the integer that we need when we claim the gems. So we're going to now create the function to claim these here. So we're going to create a public async void here, which is going to be mint ERC-20. We're going to do a try catch here. And in the catch, we'll just say debug log error. And here we are going to first, we'll just say minting ERC-20, just so we can keep track of it. We're going to get our contract, which is going to be thirdweb manager.instance.sdk.get contract. We're going to get our contract with the contract address we have from above. Once we get that contract address, we're actually going to set the has not claim state to false. We're going to set the claiming state to true. And then we're going to do var, we're going to do results here. And then we're going to mint the ERC-20 token. So we're going to do await contract, again, specify ERC-20. And then we're going to do claim. And we're going to claim the gems, the gems to claim, which is, again, what we're keeping track of up here. and then we'll make sure we do toString here. Then once that has been claimed, we'll just say it has been minted. We're going to update our balance, our token balance, so that we update that we now have some tokens. Then we'll set the has not claim or the claiming state to false, and we'll set the has claimed to true, which will allow us to then restart the game. So if I close this here, come back to our game here, we have the game gems to collect here. Oh, we have get token balance, sorry, not update balance. And then gems to collect, token script, gems to claim. Oh, let's create this variable up here, right there, gems to claim. There we go. So back in our token script, sorry, we'll just make this a private number. We're only using it in here. We're actually gonna get rid of this claim prompt because we're not controlling the claim prompt in here. We are going to control it in our gem collect script. We're going to do public game object, and then we're going to do claim prompt here, and in here we're going to create a show prompt, and if gems equals 10, which is the amount of gems that we are going to collect in this level, we'll set the claim prompt to true. And we didn't set a game public game object claim prompt. Yeah, so we're going to go player under, oh, did we actually add a claim prompt in here? Oh yeah, claim prompt. We're going to turn this off here, get rid of it in that one. We don't need it in that script. And we'll also in canvas here on the connect wallet script, we're gonna reference the game prompt here too, and make sure we set it to false. And then on start, we'll do claim prompt set to false. So on our canvas here, we're gonna make sure that our claim prompt is set to false. On our player one here, depending on how much tokens we collect, the game prompt will be set to true. So let's test this out here. We'll have to connect our wallet first before we start playing. So once we collect all of our tokens, so again, we can go through this, collect the tokens. Our score here is incrementing. Not sure why it's incrementing so much. Let's get rid of some. I'm just going to get rid of some of these collectibles right here. We'll just get rid of. And let me just space these out a bit more. We'll just leave it like that. So once we collect all of these, and actually it won't set because we set this to 10. So if we go to gem collect, we have to set this to 5 now. Oh, this is actually, this should be our update. This is going to check every frame to see if we have 5 collected. So now if I run this, we'll connect our wallet here. Perfect. So we're running through, we're collecting some gems, and we need to fix this gem count here. Why isn't this working? Let's get rid of these here. So we have our 1 here. Maybe we'll get this trigger here. We're just gonna edit the trigger here really quick. Gem box collider. Let's go into the gem here. I'm gonna remove this component here. Actually, let's edit. Let's go back to our prefab here. Let's select it, our box collider, and let us remove this component here. Let's add again a box collider 2D, and let us, that's the offset, this is the sizing here. We'll make it a little shorter as well. So all we need to do is trigger that section there. So if we come back to our gems here, let's just duplicate this, or actually maybe it's because we're duplicating it through here. Let's drag this up in here and set our collectibles here. All right, so again, let me just double check this here. We're doing it on when we get 5 gems, we should prompt our stuff to show. Prompts here, we should have actually, because we saw that it didn't show up. Where is our token script? Our has not claimed, we're setting this one to true. So try it again. We'll connect our wallet here. So we got 1, we got 2, we have 3, we have 4, and then when we get 5, we should have 5. You can see we can claim tokens here. And when we hit claim tokens, and we didn't set our button. So let me come back here. In our tokens, we're going to do the claim button here. The claim button has an on click. So we're going to take our token, we're going to add here to our claim button. On click, we're going to get the token here. And we're going to, from our token script, do the mint ERC-20. So run this again one more time. Connect our wallet here. Perfect, we can start moving around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5. We can now claim our tokens. You can see our tokens are being claimed here. Once this transaction goes through and we claim our tokens, we'll be brought to reset our game and our gem tokens will be displayed. And actually, we're not going to be able to do this because we haven't set up our Gasless transactions yet. So we have to set up our OZ Defender Gasless options here. And in order to do that, we're going to come to open Zeppelin Defender here. And we're going to sign in, and you can sign up for free. Now, you do have to create a relayer here. So you can create a relayer, select the chain that you need a relayer for. So in our case, Mumbai. And then you have to send some funds to the relayer. So you'll have a wallet address here that you can send the funds to. You'll then have to create an auto task. So create an auto task. You'll name it. You'll select a webhook and then select the relayer that you want to use. And once your auto task is created, you'll see Gasless demo here, or your auto task. You'll copy that webhook URI right there. And then back in your game, you just paste that in here. You can get your forwarder address. Now, depending on what chain you are deploying this on, if you're doing on any chain besides Gurley right now, we'll drop down the forwarder addresses down in the description below for those chains, plus the forwarder address for the Gurley chain as well. But you just need to paste that forwarder address right into there. And then now when we try and run our game here, we should be able to connect our wallet, collect our gems. And again, because this is gasless, you won't have to pay any gas or have any funds in the wallet that we created. So once everything goes through, you can claim tokens. And you can see tokens have been claimed, and we have our updated tokens right here, and we now own 5. Now, the last thing we're going to do is set this restart the game button to restart our game. So coming back to our token script here, we'll create we'll do a public void, and then we'll call this restart game. And what restart game will do is it'll call the scene manager to load the scene again. Because we are using scene manager, we'll have to use unity engine dot scene management. So we'll come back down to our function here, and we're going to do scene manager load scene, and we're actually going to do scene manager dot get active scene, and then we're going to do build index, and this will reset the game for us. So we'll let that run here, and then in our claimed section under that button, we're going to again do that on click function, drag our token contract into there. On our token script, we're going to do the restart game function. We'll connect our wallet here. We'll collect our gems. And once we collect all of our gems and we collect another 5 again, right? We'll claim, we'll get 5 more in here once it's claiming our tokens. You can see tokens have claimed. We'll wait till this updates to 10 gems and we can restart our game and start back from the beginning again. And there you have it. Again, this was just a very simple game just to showcase how you can earn in-game currencies and track those currencies using an ERC-20 token. And you can actually use this in-game currency within your game to mint other NFTs. You can also use this outside of your game if you want to use it for another application and use those ERC-20 tokens for something else. But I hope you folks enjoyed this video. Again, links to all the things that you would need to build this will be down in the description below. If you found some value in it, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on videos just like this. If you aren't part of our Discord community yet and you haven't joined the amazing community of builders just like yourself, we'll add a link down in the description to join our Discord. If you have any questions or you need any support, you can drop your questions in there and we have a team there ready to help you out and support you in any way. But again, I hope you folks enjoyed this video, and until next time, see ya.